I don't care how much I want it. I don't care how much I like it. I don't care how much I long for it. If it's not for me, don't let it come to me. I don't want it. Block it. Burn it. Throw me down the steps. I don't know what it takes, but keep me from evil. Keep me from wicked. Hey, what's up, guys? I guess it's just filming day because I've already filmed. No, I filmed a video earlier. Whatever. Anyway, you guys, I'm at home chilling by myself, right? Chilling, taking pictures on Instagram. Let me touch y'all down just a little bit. Okay, that's good. And I've been going through something, and sometimes I'll be walking around my house and just thinking out loud and saying stuff. Let me make sure it's good. And if y'all hear Raven, she might roll up in here. Y'all know she my homie. But anyway, I was just thinking about something, and I'm not even trying to be funny. I think it was Rick Ross. I don't know, but it's a song where these trying to hold me back. You know that song? Whatever. Anyway, I don't know who it was by for real, but I know it was a popular song for a while. But anyway, I was thinking by myself, and I want to eat these grapes. I got some grapes, y'all, but I'm not gonna eat them so I can talk to y'all. And I was just thinking, some people don't want you to be great. Like, it's like, and I always make fun and like joke around, and I'll say, I'll be talking about something and something don't work out, and then I'll just be like, you don't want to see me prosper. Like I be saying stuff like that. It could be like, because I tripped over the step, and I'd be like, this step don't want to see me prosper. But I was just thinking about it. I really feel like some people don't want you to be great. And what I mean by that, first off, let's talk about what we mean by greatness, okay? Being just a wonderful you. There's a difference between good and bad people, and that can be determined by your actions, obviously. But then there's also people who make mistakes and learn from their mistakes, and they try really hard, try to be better. I know I'm a person like that. I try to be better. It is like a part of my DNA now, is to try and be better than I was. Learn something new, try to ingrain it in myself. Like the Bible would say, write it on the tablet of my heart so that I can act that way, or act upon those things. And sometimes it takes time. Don't get me wrong. It does. We all a work in progress. Literally. I'm a work in progress. We truly, truly are. But it's like when I say, when I'm talking about greatness, which I want to clarify, it's just, I think of to myself, it's like, Sierra, you're a great person. And it's not saying like you're better than people, you're the best at everything, you do everything right, you don't make mistakes, you're everything. No, that's not what I mean, because I don't feel like that. I feel like I'm not the best at everything. I'm never going to be. I am not perfect. I'm going to continually make mistakes. I'm going to continually try to be better. I'm going to continually learn from those mistakes. But that doesn't mean I'm not a great person. You get what I'm saying? Everybody has a past, and we've done things in our past, and that's true. But we know that our past don't define who we are as people. So I think that we as people, when your intentions are good, when your motives are genuine, when you are literally trying, and you still make mistakes, but you're trying to be a good person, I want to tell you, you're a good person. You're a great person. If you're trying to do stuff sneaky. Everybody can self-evaluate, honestly. But when I say people don't want you to be great, sometimes there are people who know you, and they know things that you've done. They live close to you, they work close to you, or they just know some intimate details about yourself. Or there's people who don't know you at all. Like, let's just be honest. There's people who don't know you at all. They may see one picture of you, one caption, one video of yours, whatever. And they make these judgments about you. And like, with those judgments, because of what they have perceived for themselves, because there is literally, there we can judge right and wrong as people. We have common sense. But the righteous judgment, the type of judgment that only God can give each and every one of us, I can't even do it for myself. Do you understand what I'm saying? I cannot judge, share, and say, you're great. God is proud of you all the time. I don't know. I strive to be the best that I can, but I can't say if I'm pleasing God or not. My objective is to try my best to make sure I'm doing things that make him happy, and trying to live in this fallen world where we are imperfect people. Um and Try to make God smile. Try to make God see that I want to please him regardless, that nothing takes precedence over him. He is literally my whole purpose. Like, if he says it's wrong, it's wrong. If he doesn't approve of me, there's a problem. I don't care how many people like what I do. I don't care how many people don't like what I do. If God says, Sierra, what you're doing is wrong, it's wrong. If God says what you're doing is okay, it's okay. Like reality. But like I'm saying, I can't make that decision for God. I can't try to step in the shoes of God and say, I'm perfect or I'm broken, you know? In reality, I only can be myself. I only can do what I truly feel is the best thing, and I got to go from there, you know? And so when I say about greatness, I feel like that's a great person. Like that's a great person. That's a good person. But then, like I said, there's people who may know you and people who don't, that make judgments, and based off of what they've seen or known, and they can know some of the worst things you've ever done. They can know some of the greatest things you've ever done, but they can sometimes tack tack things to who you are based on their own perception. And sometimes because of that, I feel like they can never see you in a different light. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I mean by some people don't want to, some people don't want to want you to be great. It's like, no matter how much you do, no matter how good, no matter how far you've come from your past, or the mistakes you made, or the way that you're striving, which will physically show, because it's going to. The Bible says that, you can tell a man by the fruit that he bears. If I'm a bad person, I promise you, I can only hide the fact that I'm a bad person for so long before all of my fruits start to become very obvious. You wouldn't know a rotten tree until that rotten fruit starts to come out, So I'm like, I can hide it. I can pretend all I want to, but I can't hide the truth of who I am. You know what I'm saying? Like, everyone's truth comes out. And so for me, when I be like, like, some people don't want to see you be great, it's like they make this idea of who you are, and that they stamp that on you, and that is who you are for them forever. And I'm coming to say that's not so much important as much as it can be hurtful. We know that it's going to be people that are just not going to approve of who you are, approve of the things that you do. That's the reality. Even regardless of your motives, no, regardless of anything, it's going to be somebody that just will frown upon things that you do for their own reasons, But like I said, it can be hurtful. And, I'm learning what I wanted to share with you guys on this video after I try to explain myself, because I promise my mind be going and I'll be like, I don't know how to get this out. But what I'm trying to say to you is, you got to let that go. I'm learning, let that go. I feel like when you know who you truly are, I used to believe the same. My cousin shared with me, and it makes sense in a sense, I guess. But then, like, I agree with it, and then I don't. And the statement that I think she got from her pastor of her church, was like, if it can offend, it will offend. And I used to think like, well, it's to be like, well, if someone says something about you that's not true, this is how it's kind of taught to me. If someone says something to you that's not true, you shouldn't be offended by it. Or if someone says something about you that isn't true, you shouldn't be offended by it. And on one side, I get that. And on another side, I'm like, let's talk about, we could go into it, and we're not going to do it in this video. But, like, what does it mean to be offended? Um, and I know one definition that I feel when I use the word being offended is that you said something that probably is not true, but it insulted me. Like, you made me feel some kind of way because you said something untruthfully about me. I'm offended. It shouldn't be that, well, if it's not true, it shouldn't bother you. And that's where I'm like, I can't agree all the time, because there are people who have said things about me that aren't true, and it honestly bothered me. Maybe my feelings was just hurt or something like that. And then there's sometimes when people say things and you're like, whatever, like, you're like that. And I think it kind of depends on who's saying it. You're going to care more about what someone close to you or someone you care about, someone you admire, says about you versus a complete stranger you don't know, because you're like, they don't know me, I don't care. But when you hear things from people close to you, sometimes those things can be offensive because you love this person, or you care for this person, or you feel like you have a good relationship with this person. So it's kind of like, that can offend you too, even if what they're saying is wrong, or even if what they think about you is inaccurate. But I know I find myself really hurt sometimes when I'm just like, if someone says something, or I perceive, that someone feels a certain way about me, and it's not truly who I am. It does make me feel some kind of way, especially when they're close to me, because I'm just like, wow, who do you think I am? And sometimes I really think I'm crazy. Like, what have I done that makes this person feel this way? When I try to dig through, and I'm not perfect, we all try to self-evaluate, and sometimes we're gonna get it right, sometimes we're gonna miss some stuff. That's just reality. So I can't sit up here and say I combed through myself and I found no flaws in me. Well, you might not, but it doesn't mean they're not there. You get what I'm saying? But sometimes it can drive you crazy to try to figure out why people may think certain things about you. YouTube it's a trend thing that goes on with big YouTubers, and they'll read assumptions about them, and it's funny. And sometimes you could tell in the reaction, they're like, what? Like, I can't believe you think that. And that is exactly what I'm talking about. When like, when people don't want to see you, don't want you to be great, sometimes it's not even about you. It's like something going on with them and someone they feel, and they're stamping something on them, or I think a word they use sometimes is projecting, something onto you that's not true. And I just feel like I've gone through that here recently, and I'm just learning, like, literally through this time. Of course, I got emotional, I cried a little bit, I got really, really angry. And then I was sitting down and I was just like, you know what, when I start thinking about it, it's like, listen, I know I'm not perfect, but I know I'm not that either, and I had to say to myself, like, well, you gotta let that go. You really gotta let that go. And you gotta stop giving attention to that. Because the thing is, what I'm learning is that the enemy, or I ain't gonna even say the enemy, I don't like to give it like he has power. He doesn't. But sometimes I think the enemy can play on our emotions and play on our situations in a way that can be triggering. And a lot of times for me, because the enemy is a liar, he is the father of lies. He is projecting that on you. Like, it's like when you are in a dark place, or if you're down, or you make a mistake, the enemy's first thing is to come and try to feed you stuff, to tell yourself that, to let you believe that you are way worse than what you think you are. You're a really bad person or something. You're not good enough, whatever. The lies are a mile long. But that's not who you are. All I can say, and I'm trying not to get emotional, is we are people, you guys. Like, we are imperfect people. And literally, we have all made mistakes. So we can throw perfect out the window. Like, you're not gonna turn to being perfect tomorrow. You're not gonna be perfect in the next minute. You're not gonna be perfect when you stop doing whatever you're doing. You're already imperfect, because I've made mistakes. I can never, ever stand before you and say I'm perfect. I am not. I've made more mistakes than I'll ever care to count. I don't even need to go into that. But what I'm saying is, if we are all imperfect people, why is it that people still feel like we have a free reign to judge someone and try to hold them bondage in our own ideas of who they are? It's kind of like how it came to me. It's like I feel like some people want you to believe so much what they think about you because maybe they do think it's true. Like, I don't think that sometimes people don't want you to be great because they hate you. I think sometimes we forget to step out of our self and realize I'm just like everyone around me. I'm not perfect. And then you hear people in one verse say, well, no man is perfect, but then they like plow you with all of your mistakes all the time, reminding you that you did this, you did that, you're the same as that, you ain't changed from that. I'm at a point where I don't even know if it's not, I am getting to a point where I don't care anymore, which I thank God, but it's not like I don't feel anything. Like, it's irritating, but I am glad to get into a place where I'm just like, I don't care no more. And the only reason I can get into that place is because God is revealing to me, I think, what is really happening and helping me to come back to like what is true. It was just like when Jesus, I believe, was talking to the disciples and he said, you go out there and talk to them. He said, if they reject you, dust your feet off and go to the next person. And it's kind of like, it's like, you know what you're doing. You don't got to beat yourself into other people. I used to fall a victim to that. Sometimes when you're dealing with people that say things about you, especially if you do have a past and you have made mistakes, it is easy for you to fall back into that. I did make a mistake. I did do something wrong. And you kind of like shrink a little, and, it brings shame and guilt and all those things that God told you don't need to feel anymore when you are asked for forgiveness, when you repent, and not just say, I'm sorry, but repent means to turn away from those things, But it's like when people know your sin and then they constantly remind you of it and make it as if you can't be anything else. That's what I mean by they don't want you to be great. And what I've learned is you have to know who you are through God. And he is the only one that can give me peace through this. And I thank him so much because it is frustrating and I don't want to be angry over it because in my mind, it's like I've done nothing wrong. Maybe I made a mistake, and a mistake is that I didn't intend to do anything. I didn't have a objective to do anything. I made a mistake. And it's like to bring up a true sin or something I did intentionally do wrong and plow it together and say it's the same thing. It's hurtful. It's hurtful and it's frustrating. But God was showing me today, because I always tell God, I don't want to be angry and I don't want to fight, because anger is exhausting, you guys, and it drains everything out of you. Every creative bone, every spirit, you just be exhausted. Anger is horrible and it's only fueled by more anger until you let that go down and all that's left is hurt, And so I was like, I'm hurt, and I just think about it and I would be like, you have to get back to a place where you have to know who you are. And while I done babbled on way longer than I intended, is some people are going to be like that. Like I said, I can't righteously judge myself in God's eyes. I can't. I'm not God. I can't say what I do right and wrong. Every day is a journey. All I can do is long after my Father's heart and try my best to do the things that he teaches me. Try my best to feel his presence so I know how to move in this life, because that's the only God we have. Like, we don't have anything else. Try to take on the heart of Jesus, the attitude of Jesus, and how he dealt with all that he had to deal with, all the persecution. And it was like, how do you do that humbly? And I feel like as I go through this situation, I realize because Jesus already knew who he was. He knew who his Father's was. He could see the problem in people that were persecuting him. And he got on the cross and he prayed for them. Like, harboring that type of spirit is coming from a deeply rooted knowledge of oneself, of truly knowing who you are, what you're doing. I believe doubts come. We know that Jesus had stress. It says it in the Bible. He was distressed, and he had to go away. He had to pray a lot, pray until he sweat blood, And so I'm thinking it took some time to deal with that persecution. It still took a toll on him. But again, the God that we serve refills you, and gives you what you need to continue on. And so I want to try to embody as much as I can of Christ and how he dealt with that. And I think that's what God was showing me today, was that, you have to know yourself. You have to trust me with you and trust that I will guide you. I have completely opened my heart to God. I tell him, I don't care how much I want it. I don't care how much I like it. I don't care how much I long for it. If it's not for me, don't let it come to me. I don't want it. Block it. Burn it. Throw me down the steps. I don't know what it takes, but keep me from evil. Keep me from wicked. Help me to be good. Help me to be genuine. Help me to please you. Humble me. Keep me humbled under your mighty hand. Guide me freely. If I am raising resistance to you, help me diminish that. Pull out and uproot every lie and make sure that there is just only room for your truth, your love, and your clarity and your guidance. I know enough in my own self that I did it long enough by myself and I didn't get it right, and I never would. I know I never will without him. And so he's like, trust me with that. Allow me to take care of you and guide you. And one thing that God has taught me is that the way that my eye. The way that sometimes we reach other people is just like how Jesus did, through humility. You don't always have to rear up and yell and scream. And I know sometimes that feels really good because I've done it. I've cussed and I've screamed and I felt good for 1 second. And then I boo-hooed later on because I was still hurt, And so I'm learning I don't want to give all that energy to anger, knowing that that's not going to solve my problem. Knowing that my anger typically covers hurt. I want to get right to the hurt. I want to get right to the healing, right to the restoring. I don't want to waste energy screaming and ranting and all of that stuff and get mad and getting hopeless and stressed out, when I can just come to the Father and say, God, I don't want to deal with this. I just want to know how to move in this. And it's been on my mind all day, you guys. And finally, it was like, some people don't want to see you be great. And that's meaning not that, and it may be that some people don't want to see you be successful. Some people think what you're doing is crazy. And maybe I'm reflecting a lot of stuff I'm feeling. Y'all probably like, girl, you're going through a lot. I promise you, I'm okay. It's just, I just get to a place where it's not like, I don't feel like it's haters and, people I don't feel like it's that. I feel like I'm learning to love people no matter how I feel like they view me or they see me, and don't let my idea too of what they think of me, because sometimes we can think we know what people mean by their actions or their words. I know that I could still be wrong. It may not be that they don't want to see me prosper or they don't want to see me be great, and it may come from another place, but the reality, what I'm trying to say is that sometimes that stuff that people feel or think and they push upon you as their opinions, because I'm at a place where I'm learning to really, really get to know who I am and what I like to do and things like that. And it's not a reckless freedom to run around and do what you want. No, it's a humbling freedom under my God. I still have standards. I still have commandments I need to keep. I still have to be obedient to him and all the things that I do. I still have to be mindful of how I treat others and address others. I still have to be humble in my dealings with people, humble when I come to him, being patient, being kind, loving people. God, Jesus said that's the greatest commandment. So when I say get to know myself and know who I am, I think sometimes people have an idea of what God looks like in a personality. And I think that when they see something that doesn't line up with what they think, God looks like, then you can't be of God. You can't be God's child or something. I don't even know how to explain that. And I'm trying not to ramble way much longer because we already at 23 minutes. But I'm just saying, I'm learning it's not always about you. And I'm also learning that even though it may not be about you, how can your actions help people around you, even if they may be projecting, even if they are dealing with your past and not being able to see past it, even if, like anything. So, I know that I can't jump in the victim seat and be like, well, everybody's against me. I could say that, but that's still being immature to me. I think God has matured me enough to know that I don't need to be the victim at all. We aren't victims, we're victors, you know. And so, like, I don't want to act like I'm a victim. I'm not. And that's not what I'm telling you guys. I'm not telling you that every time someone says something to you, they just hate. And I actually don't like that. I think things always come from a very genuine place, whether it's a good place or a bad place, you know. But it's a real place. And how do we reach souls if we react in a negative way to everything? You know, I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna get off here, but one of the things I've heard before about people who, I think it was like a story someone was telling overseas, and they said what turned them to Christ was when they heard about unconditional love and about how he loved his enemies, and you know how the Bible teaches us to love our enemies. If your enemy's hungry, feed them. You know, if they're thirsty, if they need clothes, clothe them. You know, and they said that turned them. And I was just thinking, in this opportunity, I feel like it's for me to grow. There is no victim. There is no culprit. It's only a way to deal in a situation like that. So when I say people don't want to see you be great, look, what I'm saying is some people can't see past what they see, you know? And some people, I do genuinely believe, may think of you as never being able to be great, you know? But the thing is, we live our life, we stay consistent. Don't give your energy to that. You know, actions speak way louder than words. I can say whatever I want. I'm learning sometimes being quiet is the best thing to do. And just going, you know, going. Because I do believe that for every action, there's a reaction or there's a consequence. And when I say consequence, I don't believe that means everything is bad. I know sometimes we're taught like that, but I mean, like, with everything we do, good and bad, there's a consequence. And I feel like if I'm doing good things, those things will come out eventually. My fruit will eventually bloom. I do not have to go around yelling and screaming at everyone and tell them, no, this is who I really am, you know, kind of thing. When it's like, just be you. And another thing I read in Ecclesiastics, I'm going to share with you guys, it really kind of like shook me up a little bit. Not really. I'm going to say shook me up. It centered me, I think. Like, if I could describe it, it gave me balance. And he was saying, and I'm going to paraphrase it, and I'll put the verse up over here somewhere. And it was saying that he said, don't be too righteous, don't be too wicked. He's like, I have to get it. Hold on. I got to read it from the book myself. All right. And this is Ecclesiastes chapter 12. And it is the verses 13 and 14, the last two verses of this book of the Bible. And it says, and I'm reading from the NIV. Yeah. And it says, now all has been heard. Here is the conclusion of the matter. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the duty of all mankind. For God will bring every deed into judgment, including every hidden thing, whether it is good or evil. And so when I was reading that, it was just like, it taught me balance. I realized, for me personally, I have been ingrained at some point in my life with this idea of what perfect looks like. And the problem with that is that I never see it in myself. You get what I'm saying? Because we're not perfect people. So I was in this very, really, really rough spot where I was struggling because I was just like, God, I don't know if I'm pleasing you or if I'm not. And I was literally frustrated with God. And I asked him this question. I said, God, why can't you just make it clear? Why can't you just make it very obvious the direction we need to go and what we need to do? Because all this searching, all this looking, all this reading, I learned so much and I still don't know where to take the next step sometimes. And when I was reading through Ecclesiastics, and I'm going to find one more verse real quick, guys. This is the verse that I found, you guys, when I was asking for this balance. And this is where God led me. And this is also in Ecclesiastics. This is chapter 7, verses 15. And it says, in this meaningless life of mine, I have seen both of these, the righteous perishing in their righteousness and the wicked living long in their wickedness. Do not be over righteous. neither be overwise. Why destroy yourself? And that's a question mark. It says, do not be over wicked and do not be a fool. Why die before your time? Question mark. It is good to grasp the one and not let go of the other. Whoever fears God will avoid all extremes. And when I read that, it helped me to stop trying to be over righteous, stop trying to be over wise. Like, that was really what I was striving after. And I was trying to be like, I don't want to do anything foolish. I don't want to do this. I want to do this, be da 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 da. And when it just said, whoever fears God will avoid all extremes. And then it centered me. And it's like, I can definitely do that. I definitely fear and reverence the God in heaven for everything. And my whole life is to make sure that I'm pleasing him. Truly, I trust him. And not that God is going to beat me down and burn me down, even though he absolutely could. But my fear for him is the honest and healthy fear that I know I should have. And it taught me to have balance. So my thing, I was like, when I went on all this fuel, Raven, come on, Raven looked crazy because we was braiding her hair. But when I went on this fuel and I was talking about everything, you know, like when I say some people don't want to see you be great, it is true. You know, they cannot sometimes see you without seeing all of your flaws. Yes, ma'am. Hold on, guys. We gotta help Raven. Raven's gonna sit here. Yes, it is. But what I'm gonna say, because I'm gonna close so I can be with my babe, because she's clearly in here and wanna hang out. Excuse me. But, you know, I'm learning, you know, fear God. And when I'm saying, like, some people can't see you past your mistakes, and some people can't see you past your ideas. But that will never stop you from being great. That will never stop you from being wonderful. That will never stop you from excelling and soaring further. Yeah, I guess that works for me. Than you could ever imagine. And I have to believe that, because greatness that I say that we have doesn't come from us. It comes from the great God that we serve. I don't have to be perfect. I don't have to be perfect ever to be great, you know? Because anybody we talk about on this world that we consider someone that is the GOAT, as they say, they have acquired greatness. They are still imperfected people. And their greatness doesn't come because their skill set is so great. It's going to come from a drive in them that let them know they could do it. And that is something that I believe God gives us, and we have to trust it. So guys, I'll just let you know, yes, some people don't want to see you be great, but it will not ever stop you from being great. Don't strive after perfection. It's impossible. And don't be way too wicked and ruin your life. Trust God, fear God, and you will avoid all the extremes. That's what Solomon said. So you guys, I hope that is motivational. You know, I need to spew, talk, whatever, do what I do. And I hope it blesses you and blesses someone. But stay blessed, you guys. Stay motivated. Stay close to God. Remember, God loves you. He doesn't want to trick you. He doesn't want to hurt you. He cares for you. And I'll talk to you all in my next one. Bye, guys. Thank you for listening.